Hello, America. This is Mr. Citizen Patriot. I finally have made it here to Washington, D.C. I've been around for 17 years, born in Los Angeles in 2003. My role is to bring patriotism to a higher level in our country. My role is to wear this uniform for the sake of the men and women who wore their uniforms to be shot at, that I may be free. I didn't go to be shot at, but the least that I can do for those men and women who gave their lives for me is to wear this uniform to remind the world who they are and what they've done. And I've come also to raise the spirit of patriotism in our country, to come together, whether you're on the political right or left, it doesn't matter right now. We as a nation must come together, and what better person to help bring the nation together than a person like Mr. Citizen Patriot. And for more information on Mr. Patriot and how to get in touch with me and participate in this new awakening of American patriotism, go to mrpatriot.us. Get involved with this new American patriotism that we're bringing to you today. Hey, greetings everyone. Shalom. It's Ted, host of Your Power Weapon, quote unquote, on urbansmartnetwork.com. Welcome to another exciting episode of Your Power Weapon. And I want you to, contact all your friends. Don't forget to like us, contact your friends, get us on your social media platforms. We got to make our numbers grow. And by the way, speaking of our numbers grow, welcome all you new folks that have learned to pick up on Your Power Weapon on the Urban Smart Network. Welcome. Because here you're gonna there's no censorship, but there's also intelligent talking too. We don't talk foolishness and craziness either. We respect our First Amendment rights. We're all free to say what we want to say, but I think as a people, we have to learn to be mature, to say those things that are wise, clever, witty, and all of that, edgy, controversial, but not hateful things like hating people for their skin color, their race or ethnicity, or their religion or nationality, or their historical past, or their historical culture and heritage. Where we are is we're trying to bring healing. That Mr. Patriot character there, he makes a lot of sense when you think about it. That our country is very divided on almost every level, and one of the big divisive elements that have been really weaponized is race, particularly between black and white people in this country. And it's gotten to the point now, folks, that supposedly in the interest of empowering, improving black lives in America, it's like to make us better, everything that happens is racist against us. You could disagree against abortion. You could disagree on the issue of transgender. You could disagree on the issue on the border, Ukraine, Republican, Democrat, whatever you disagree with. If you disagree with a certain group, then you are racist. And behind the racism around black Americans and citizens, you get the gays, the alphabets. You get everybody. Women have pulled their wagons behind the historical civil rights legacy and the heritage of us. And it's kind of a shame. But Mr. Patriot says we got to heal. And what better character than a black man, an American who is a descendant of chattel slaves, who have been told for so long that the colors red, white, and blue is oppressive colors by the white man against us. And yet Mr. Patriot dons this, and he says that only he and people like him are capable of uniting the country. Which by the way, folks, is the title of our broadcast tonight. Can black citizens rescue the political processes of America? Why would someone ask, how can black citizens unify or rescue the political process of America? Very interesting conversation that we're going to have about that. Going to bring in some new thoughts. And we're going to also deal with what just happened out here with in DC with the with the abortion rights, Roe v. Wade. Something just jumped off on that, and the country is jumping up and down, the political right and left. So we're gonna cover that tonight as well on your power weapon. And we want to talk about also the how inflation, the border matters, the gas prices, what's going on in the Ukraine, all of those things. How what's happening in China and Taiwan? How do all of these crises or items affect black folks in America? Because you see, it is my contention that every single one of them has to do with us. Every single one. You say, well, Ted, how do you get that? Well, if you look at a tree, you look at the branches and the boughs and leaves and if there's some fruit on it, you see all of that. Then you come backward towards the trunk of the tree, then you see the trunk, and then the tree disappears underground. Then, on the ground, there's all these roots. And see, um, what happened to the American Africans in this country is at the root of what this country is really all about. Which so therefore naturally everything that happens up in the branches and the leaves and the trees and the fruit has our juice in it. You cannot separate us from America's future and destiny. That's why Martin Luther King said that 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 the white people's citizens' destiny in this country is intricately intertwined with the destiny and the freedom of the black folks in this country. We'll talk about all of that. But we want to also um, pay a tribute to a young man who served his country in Iraq. A young man who also was a member. Well, first he was a member of the National Guard. Then he served his country in Iraq, and he came back here and still as a member of the National Guard. And the governor of Texas deployed the National Guard, as you all know, down to the border. And this young man, um, he jumps in the water, takes off his gear to save what appeared to be a couple of um, water and troubled migrants. They call them. I don't call them migrants. They're ignorant invaders. They're fodder for someone who's trying to destroy the country. But nonetheless, this young man didn't judge these people by the color of their skin or whether they were coming across the border illegally or not. And he risked his life, and he drowned. It took him several days to find his body. And turns out that the so-called two migrants were actually drug mules smugglers, and his boy lost his life. And his name is special sergeant special class um, Bishop Evans, Bishop E. Evans, Bishop E. Evans. Say his name, Bishop E. Evans. Bishop E. Evans happened to be an American uh, African U.S. black citizen in the National Guard. Good boy. He was a well-rounded young man, and this be black, right? Well, Joe Biden, the president of the United States, who told black folks, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. No matter what God made you to be, you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Well, ever since that man's been in the White House, it's been nothing but chaos and disaster, not only for people other nationalities in the country, but us primarily. They say when white folks catch a cold, we get pneumonia. And when we get pneumonia, when they get pneumonia, we die. See, we lead in every negative social statistic in this country. And you would think, so whoever advises Mr. Biden, from what I heard, a lot of it is actually coming through Mr. Barack Obama, who of course is controlled by the people behind him. And you would think that the first African American black president would encourage Mr. Biden to come on television or go down to Texas and visit that boy's family and say, y'all black folks, you go through a lot in this country, and you're the greatest patriots we've ever had, and you even put on a uniform, and we have mistreated you when you come back from war. And this young man went out to save some people who was invading our country, and we want to honor him today. Maybe we should name something after him. What's his name? His name is Bishop E. Evans. Bishop E. Evans. So we pay tribute to him and to his family tonight, his grieving family, his loved ones, and all of his friends and associates. And I tell you, when I look at the pictures of them dealing with this boy's body, all them white people, man, giving him the highest respect. And have you noticed not a word come from the African American so-called civil rights leaders? It has not come from the Congressional Black Caucus, which calls themselves the conscience of the Congress. They haven't called for some kind of resolution, at least called for a resolution. They haven't said nothing to Nancy Pelosi, and my goodness, they ain't said nothing to Mitch McConnell. But Mitch McConnell, where are you, sir? Where are y'all Republicans? They ain't said nothing about this boy and his sacrifice. Anyway, I'm sorry. I got a little out of line there. My apologies. This is Ted, host of Your Power Weapon on UrbanSmartNetwork.com. Keith Hardeen, my co-host. Are you there, Keith? What's going on, brother? Talk to us for a minute. Keith. Can't hear you, man. Well, I'll pretend that I'm Keith's voice, okay? So I'll talk for Keith, and y'all, what Keith is saying is I don't know what's going on, so so I'll pretend that I'm Keith. Right, that's right. So tell us what's going on with the Keith. I can't hear you, man. Can you hear me? Okay, so folks, we are having some a little bit of technical difficulty over on Keith's line. You know, I wanted to bring up something that folks haven't talked. I want to wait to talk about the abortion matter until Keith gets back on. So I'm going to go to something that we need to talk about right now. As I said, all matters of the United States, all matters of all lives in the United States is hinged and dependent upon. Well, there's Keith again. Keith, what you got?
Yeah.
Oh, man, you scared me, man. Turn that thing down, brother.
Yeah. Is that loud? Too loud?
No, you good, man. That's
Okay.
my technology over here, man. You know, so
Yeah. Okay.
don't worry
All
about
right,
a
guys.
thing.
I had to reboot. I had to reboot everybody. This is a reality show, so okay.
Did you call me a boot? Did you call us a boot?
I had to reboot.
Oh, you know what a boot is? Do you know what a boot is?
Yes.
What's a boot?
Boot means you had to come back on the air. That's radio talk.
Nah, my brother. A boot is one of the names used to call black folks back in the 70s. We were called boots.
Okay, so
Yeah, we would call everything from boots to spooks
uh,
to niggers and niggers and negroes and afros. But boots was one of the names they used to call us, boots. So anyway, boot, what's going on?
yeah, I wondered this guy that was not honored by the black community. Do you know? Was that both Republican and Democrats,
Yes,
or
sir. Both
just
Republican and Democrat. And Republicans should have been out there even before anybody else, frankly, because they had an
yeah,
opportunity to seize the narrative, and they didn't do it.
yeah? See, that's really amazing. I thought Black Lives mattered. Everybody, I really did. I thought Black Lives mattered,
Well, you
but
know,
you know,
Black Lives, apparently, according to George Soros and the socialists and the puppeters that he puppets, these black folks that led the Black Lives Matter movement, Black Lives Matter to everybody but Black Lives, frankly. Yeah, matter to everybody but Black Lives. You know, we come up with that word, Black Lives Money, BLM, Black Lives Money. So go ahead, my brother. You were saying.
well, that's that. But we just have to we have to keep pointing out the hypocrisy of the left and show the people that they are duped and deceived. And if they choose to be deceived and live in that deception, well, that's between them and God. So I don't know what else to say about that.
Well, you know, my I got a little homie out here in L.A. area and little town out in Riverside County, and friends of my children friends. Little homeboy man got involved in a marijuana illegal marijuana transaction apparently, and with some other black folks. And apparently he was really set up, and that little brother got shot 11 times, man.
Wow. Hmm.
And hey, and they say it was a guy, a Ku Klux Klan racist, man, white supremacist shot him. No, it was a black man, young black man, shot that boy 11 times, and he's hanging on by a thread with his life. Black lives matter. Black
Hey
lives
Ted.
matter.
Well, Ted, if a cop would have shot him because
Oh,
he
brother.
may have been 11 times, they would have. Oh man, that would have been investigated. That would have been. Oh, is that excessive force or what? Anyway.
The world would have stopped spinning, brother, had that happened. So there you go. And I want to remind y'all, listeners, especially our new people coming on, we're not trying to, Ken and I, and Brother Keith and I, and Ken and Anita, the people on the broadcast, we're not trying to divide America around the issue of race and skin color. No, we're not trying to do that, because America been divided on that issue, and it's really been white people, fighting with white people over the existence of black people. That's from the very beginning and inception of this nation. That's why you're never going to be able to get rid of this thing until we all get honest and close that wound that we were. The United States, bless her heart, was born with this wound. Y'all got to know something out there now, especially all y'all black folks. United States of America did not initiate chattel slavery. That came from the British Empire. See, when we inherited, when the founding fathers took this country away, literally took it away from the British Empire and created the United States in 1776, in July 4th, they also inherited the chattel slavery institution of the British Empire. And one more point, and to be honest about that, was the British Empire did not enslave black people. Oh, no, the British Empire did not enslave black people. No, they did not. And I can take you to the bank on that one. The British Empire, the Christians, the Jews, the white folks, the American or the British people, they purchased slaves. Our ancestors were already slaves by the hands of black peoples in Africa. You see, ain't no white dude gonna run the brothers down their own hood. It's like we ain't gonna run no white boy down in Appalachian Mountains, okay? But we get somebody else to run them down. Or we find them already there and we purchase. And that's what happened. So don't get it twisted. But we are very involved in this country. Keith, I wanna bring up something that you've been familiar with for long, well, in the last century. You were familiar with it in the last century. That's when I met you, in the last century. And in South Central LA. And you're a constitutional lay expert, in my opinion. Talk to us about what happened to Supreme Court today, my man.
Whoa.
What in the world went boom over there? Talk to us,
Whoa.
brother.
Well, the Supreme Court, it says basically a draft. They, and I suppose this goes on all the time, because within the departments, various departments within the Supreme Court, they have their assistants, they have all of their legal, uh, you
Legal
know,
beagles,
yeah, all those
the
people running
clerks
around.
and
Yeah,
secretaries, everybody,
yeah,
right?
right.
Acting important.
Right. So apparently a draft leaked somehow, first time in history. This has never happened in the history of the Supreme Court that I know of, or that anybody seems to be saying. And there was a leak, a draft leak, that suggested that the Supreme Court is preparing to overturn Roe v. Wade. Yes.
Uh,
Now, if that happens, yes, I like it.
are you for
But
that, Ken? Are you for that, ladies and gentlemen out there?
yes,
Anybody for the overturn of Roe v. Wade? Raise your hand. Let me see your hands. Well, there you go, Ken. Okay, well, go ahead, Ken. So
well,
you for this, right?
yeah, because it's important to know that it is not constitutional. Roe v. Wade was not done constitutionally.
What you
In
mean
other
by
words,
that? And what you mean? Because
well, it was a Supreme Court order that made it legal across the nation. But the
when
Supreme
did that
Court,
happen, brother? When did that happen?
oh boy,
1972.
1970, 72 or 73,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Uh-huh. Most
Yeah.
of y'all weren't born. Most of y'all listening, either you weren't born or you were little kids.
I was in high school,
Yeah. Okay.
just getting into high school.
Yeah, I was
So
just trying to listen to Marvin Gaye. What's going on?
Marvin Gaye was very prophetic in that
He
song.
was. Save the
Man,
babies. Save all the
mhm,
children.
that's
Save the
right.
babies.
That's right. And it sounded like a very conservative song. But anyway, I
Woo.
digress.
And liberal too, because
So,
he talks about the environment and
yeah,
so forth and so on.
yeah. But anyway, that was basically that's just of Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade should be turned back to the states. Let the states decide. Let the people through their representatives decide. That's the way the Constitution is supposed to. I mean, that's the way it's supposed to be. And even
So why
then,
so why did it go that way? Why did it violate the Constitution and has stood for several generations in which we black folks are the most disaffected by abortion? We are only 11, 12%, well now 11% of the population, and we're over 40% of the abortion rate. What's up with that? So why was that allowed to be such a constitutional law for so long, which is not, Keith?
well, apparently that's the change of the culture. That's basically it. I don't know any other reason. I mean, these people they do a lot, just like the same thing with gay marriage. You know, we said no in California, in liberal California, but a federal judge, said yes. He
Well,
overturned our vote.
Well, to be specific, more specific on that, Keith, it wasn't just liberal Californians or Californians. It was in particularly black Californians. Black
Yes, they
Californians
said
made the
no.
difference.
Yes, they
So,
won. Yeah, they said no. You're
so the
right.
so the liberal courts in California basically disenfranchised black California U.S. citizens vote.
Yes, there you go.
That was the reason why President Grant, who became president after Andrew Johnson for 2 terms, he legislated through Congress the 1870 and 1875 Civil Rights Act, which was basically anti Ku Klux Klan Act, because the Democrats and the Klan was disenfranchising the new black citizens from their vote. Well, it happened again in California. Ken, how come the black leadership, the African American leadership in California did not stand up to that black folks' vote was disenfranchised?
I don't know where the NAACP was. I don't know. I mean, I don't, because at that time, of course, I was a kid. But who knows?
But you should have been
Yeah.
like David and went out there and slew Goliath, brother. Where you at?
Well, I had not tested my weapons yet. I had to test my weapons. I had to prove my weapons, prove my faith. And that's what I've been doing all these years. So I'm ready. You got to prove your faith first. Prove your
Well,
weapons to see if they work.
yeah, and that's the weapons of your mind. Speaking of which, ladies and gentlemen, that's Keith Hardeen, my co-host and my very good friend from the last century, here on Your Power Weapon with Ted Hayes on Urban Smart Network. We're here every Monday night at 7 o'clock p.m. on the Pacific Coast time and 10 o'clock p.m. East Coast time. So that's Your Power Weapon with Ted Hayes on Urban Smart Network.com, and we base our conversation on Urban Smart Network around the citizenship of black citizens, i.e., the descendants of the chattel slaves, American Africans, not African American. Get it straight now. American Africans and the 14th Amendment. You see, the 14th Amendment, for those of you who don't know, and I ask a lot of people rhetorical questions, especially black folks, what does the 14th Amendment mean to you? They don't have a clue. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the 14th Amendment is your citizenship, your United States federal super catch up citizenship, catch up with the immigrants' citizenship. It comes from the Civil Rights Act of 1866, okay? That's our citizenship, and that's where we're coming from. And God willing, Urban Smart Network going to end up waking up a lot of people on this. Now, Keith, let's go back to the abortion matter. Now, who do you think could have possibly leaked that, and why do you think such a thing was leaked? Now, somebody in the one of the pundits tonight, I think it was on Fox or somewhere, said that this actually amounts to insurrection, more so
Mm.
than what happened at the Capitol across the street back on January 6th, uh, um, um, 2021. 2021. They said that this is really, truly an act of insurrection. Your thoughts, sir?
I agree. because you have now, every time we rebel against the Constitution, it's an act of insurrection. And when we rebel against it, especially with arms, but I don't suppose any arms are used here. But I would just say that that in essence, if anything, that person should be held up. That person should be fired or gotten rid of, or in the sense that they should lose their job.
Wouldn't that be
And
treason, though, Keith? Isn't that treasonous? What they've done when you rise
yeah,
up in insurrection against your country, isn't that treason? And that is worthy of the death penalty, from what I understand, according to the Constitution.
whoa, whoa, that sounds interesting. Uh I don't know about that for sure. Whether it's worthy of the death penalty, I don't know. I
Well,
really
if it's
don't.
treason, if it's treason, according
Uh-huh.
to the Constitution, it's worthy of the death penalty. I
Yeah.
mean, because treason is treason. But see, but
Yeah.
see, I understand too, folks, that Chief Justice Leto is going to. Is it Leto? No, it's the other cat. What's that cat's name? Um, the Chief
Kennedy, or
Justice.
is it
Well,
Roberts?
yeah,
Roberts?
Jeff Roberts, right? John
Yeah.
Roberts. That
Mhm.
apparently tomorrow morning he's calling all members of the court, all clerks, all employees of the court into a big, session, deep search session. And they say they're going to get at the bottom of this. And what the pundits are saying, it's a short list. It's a very short list. If they can't catch who did it. But you know something too, you gotta tip your hat to the leaker, because the leaker must know that it's just a matter of time before they're gonna get caught and could face the death penalty. So you gotta acknowledge you're wrong, but you gotta acknowledge that this is a person that is definitely committed to their cause. How committed are we patriots, Keith?
Ah, that that's a good question. The Patriots, we have to take a stand and follow the Constitution, the text of the Constitution as written. Either that, or we're not a country. Simple as that. So
Keith,
we don't
what's
want
that?
to
What's that saying you always have at the end of your email about tyrants? Can you quote that to the people?
resistance. To tyrants is obedience to God. That was
Man,
Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson
man.
wrote that. That was during the and Benjamin Franklin agreed with it, and so did the committee at the time, the committee for making that the motto of the American Revolution, and
Well,
that's what it
Keith,
was.
what's that other one? The tree of liberty from time to time must be watered by the blood of patriots.
By
What is that?
patriots, yeah, by a lot of patriots from time to time, and that's true.
What does
And
that
so,
mean, Keith? Does
just
that
that
does
means
that
that,
mean does that mean patriots need to pick up guns and go take some blood and lose their blood
well,
on this matter?
they
Or and has it come to that point now with this obvious insurrection attempt in the
well,
Supreme Court?
I don't see it at that point. No, this happened in the Supreme Court, so that they can handle that within themselves, and the
Okay,
Constitution says that they should. So let
okay,
them deal with that. Let them. Let's see what happens. Let it pan out. You
okay.
know.
Well, Keith, here's another thing I want to bring up to you, because I know you've been fighting with this for quite a while, and you're one of them champions out there, like my friend Alveda King. Y'all know Alveda King out there? Raise your hands. Y'all know Alveda King. Okay, Alveda King is the niece of Martin Luther King, and she has really come on. I've known her about 20 years now, and she's come on really strong as one of the nation's most prominent warriors for God on the matter of abortion, trying to stop all these kids from being born. I mean, being killed before them, well, just being killed. Period. But Keith, she says, and you correct me if I'm wrong here. Now, y'all listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. Why should we black folks be so concerned about these white people's arguments about abortion? Because if you notice the crowds that are out there protesting, I think if Mr. Engineer can put that up again, you notice it's mainly white people, white Americans, white citizens. Very few black folks out there. Can you address that? That's Alveda King, y'all, right there. That's Alveda King. She gets around, man. She's a very beautiful woman. She's a Christian lady. She loves Jesus and everything, and She doesn't have anything mean to say about nobody. She does
Well,
a
let's
lot
put
of
it
praying.
this. Well, let's put
Look
it
her
this
up.
way.
I'll be the king. Look her up. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Keith.
let's put it this way. You said it a few minutes ago. You
What?
said that the majority of abortions are done against blacks. So if the majority of abortions are done against blacks, and yet the majority of white folks out there who are in favor of abortion, the majority of white folks, see those people there.
All them white people, man. See, all them
Okay,
white folks. I
right.
don't see. I
So
see an Asian over here, I think,
they
but I
want to
don't see
keep,
no black people in that crowd. Why
yeah.
is that?
So they want to keep their bodies. They say that this is bans, this is hands off my bodies, bans off our bodies. In other words, they claim that that's their body. So their decision, their choice. Well, if that's their choice, and most of the abortions are done with blacks, then do black lives, again, I ask the question, do black lives matter to these people? And number two, what about when the COVID was on and we were talking
Oh,
about our body, our choice in
oh.
wearing a mask and being vaccinated? Yet they
Okay.
said, no, no, you must be vaccinated. You must wear a mask. And they
Wow.
did everything they could to force us to do it.
So you're
So,
equating those two.
yes, I
If it's
am.
your body, if it's a white woman's body, and it's a black person's body too. Otherwise, we don't own our bodies; they own our bodies, which once again makes us what? Chattel slaves. You see,
Oh,
we are
yes.
chattel slaves, and chattel means living human property. So they can do whatever they want with their body and do whatever they want to our body. Is that what's going on, brother?
Sound like it to me. Really, that's what it is.
Who was this? Who was this black woman by the name of Margaret Sanger? This black chick that used to hang out with Hitler and was talking with Hitler about euthanasia. Is that what they call that? Euthanasia.
Yeah, yeah.
When he killed folks for the betterment of humanity. And this black
Yeah.
woman, what's her name? Margaret Sanger, this black woman.
Margaret
Yeah.
Sanger wasn't black. She was white.
Oh, she wasn't.
No, she was white.
Well,
Ah.
oh my God. So this white lady.
Yeah, well,
Now I
John.
heard, and correct me if I'm wrong. I heard that she told Hitler that this is really to kill the blacks on the planet first
Yes.
and foremost because we have the greatest threat to white superiority. And Hitler, that's what kind of where got some of his ideas to burn Jews and whatnot. Talk to me, brother.
Ooh, man. Yes, you're absolutely right. And yet, the president, for a while, I don't know about
Hold
now.
on, hey, Mr. Producer, is that Margaret Sanger with the
Yes.
mask on her face?
Yes, she's got a mask on her face.
Ain't that woo? What does that? Hey, Mr. Engineer, when you get a chance, would you bring up that picture of the slaves with the mask on their faces? But go ahead, Keith.
Yeah, I'm saying that it's interesting that a black woman would be the president here in the West Coast
What?
of of uh, of Margaret Sanger's. What was the
Uh-uh.
name of that?
I'm
Of the
sorry.
Yeah, yeah,
Wait a minute. No, you can tell me that there's a black woman in California who is the head of the Margaret Sanger, whatever it is
yeah.
organization.
I'm trying to think of the
Man,
organization. It
where you
was
get that stuff from, man?
Planned
I'm
Parenthood.
not gonna have. I'm gonna have to get rid of you if you can't be the
How could
host, man.
I
'Cause you starting to make stuff up.
how could I forget Planned Parenthood? Yeah, Planned Parenthood.
See, caught you.
Planned Parenthood. You can look it up, my friend. A black
And ladies and
woman.
gentlemen, Keith just told y'all if you don't believe that a black woman in California is in charge of the California Planned Parenthood organization, the organization that is killing, that has made black folks 40% of the abortion rate, and we're
Woo!
only 11, 12% nationally. Look at them face masks them chattel slaves got on their faces, y'all. Is
Wow.
somebody trying to tell us something,
Oh
ladies
man.
and gentlemen? And you're gonna tell
Yeah.
me, Keith, that this woman is black? Well, it sound like them chicks
Yeah.
from the Black Lives Matter movement. Don't it sound like this kind of same kind of mindset?
Yes,
That
sir.
they
Yes,
don't
sir.
care about blackness at all, that they care
No.
about money and power and prestige.
Well, the woman was up on charges as far as buying a home. She has several homes in Brentwood, Beverly Hills, somewhere out there. The black
So
woman, from Black Lives Matter.
yeah, so once again, we are being commoditized and monetized as a people. Wow. So this is why, okay. So all around then, we black folks in America are being disenfranchised nearly on every single level. So when people tell me there's no such thing as systemic racism, I gotta smile at them. You see, because everywhere you look, you see that we black folks in the system are at the bottom everywhere. You take, for example, in the penal system, we have the highest rate of incarceration in the penal system. You look at
Wow.
homelessness, the most visible thing. I'm dealing with that out here in California, y'all. You're gonna hear about more on that in the future. But here's homelessness. We're over in nationwide. We are over 60% of the homeless population, mainly in the urban centers. Here in Los Angeles, we're over 40% when we're only 8 or 9% of the general population. We're 40% of the homeless population. I mean, oh, here's another one. People kill people, man. White people kill white people, yellow people kill yellow people, red people kill. Everybody kill each other, right? And that's understandable. And there's very little cross ethno, cross racial killings these days. But black folks, every year, 7,500 young black men die by gunfire from the hands of young black men every year.
Hmm.
And this goes on in every negative social statistic in this country. Hey, Keith, how do you think Joe Biden, when he shut down the gas line out there in the Midwest, wherever that gas line was, what they call that? He shut it down the first day he came in
The
office.
pipeline. Yeah, the pipeline. Yeah.
When he shut that gas down and the gas prices
Alaska.
went up, how do you think
Yeah.
that affected black people?
Well, I'm sure we were affected quite a bit. I know I was. I just basically, and I'm not a poor man, but at the same time, gas prices went up, food went up, every other service went up. We pay more for everything, and we get
So,
less service, less resources. So that's it. Raise the price and then lower the what do you call it? The production and the services, the goods and services,
well,
the
Keith,
production
no,
of it.
Keith, ladies and gentlemen, we just mentioned a minute ago that black men have the highest rate of homicide, young black men, and also that we have the highest rate of incarceration in the country. Well, Keith, what do you think happens when these young black men and women can't afford to pay for food, can't afford to pay for clothes or whatever? What do you think they're going to do?
Well, some of them will do just what they're doing now. They'll go out and grab and smash and grab.
They're going to smash your grass. Hey, y'all. Listen, Keith and I out here on the West Coast, man. They call it left coast. The left coast left us. But the point is, folks, is man, and it's mostly black kids, right? And they go up to Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills, right? Don't y'all say nothing about this, all right? And they go up in the Beverly Hills and they'll take a crowbar and smash a window with all that jewelry and they snatching.
Yes.
That's all them jewelry. You are not safe in Beverly Hills. And they also follow people home from restaurants to look at see what kind of watch they got. And they get them when they go inside the house, they jump them.
Mm,
Now there's a lot of young black people doing this.
yes.
So what that will do then, as they catch these cats, that feeds what? The prison industrial complex, chattel slavery, because the 13th Amendment says that slavery in America is abolished except in prison.
And
See?
what was that? And what was the promise that they said? What did Abraham Lincoln say in that Emancipation Proclamation? You know that clause where it talked about except in self defense, against
Yes, that we
violence.
are
Yeah.
that we were told that we were allowed to arm ourselves, and we could fight in self-defense, but not just go out here and just bang bang shoot them up as our young men are doing right now with each other, and it just doesn't seem to stop. So here we have the cost of living going up. Young black men and women got to resort to crime. It goes into they go into the prison system. They come out the prison system on parole. They got no can't afford to live on the streets again. They commit the crime and they right back inside again. And while in there, I forget how many thousands of dollars a year the government pays private businesses to run prisons. Ladies and gentlemen, we have become chattel slaves again in America. You know, when I took Black history back in the 1970s, I went to Lycoming College in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and I was an off-campus student because they was having a class on history, Black history and African American history, and all that old mess they called it. And there was 30 people in the classroom, and I was the only Black person in the room. And there was a lot of cats people on the campus, man, but nobody wanted to take Black history. Black Lives Matter. They didn't want to do that, right? But this white guy taught, and towards the end of the course, he said there's been 3 periods in American history when the Black man was actually free. And he pointed them out. And then he pointed in 1970s, 1974, something like that. He put a arrow and a question mark towards the future, question mark. And I said, sir, why'd you put a question mark? He said, because y'all Black people's freedom is questionable. You may not make it. Hey, here's another good picture. Thank you, Mr. Engineer, because that leads me segues right into the next question, comment here. There's only one Black person in that picture. You see him right there with a chick with them nice looking breasts? My gosh, she's got a man, that woman looking good. Brown sugar, baby. With her, you see with the pink on? Yeah, but everybody else up in there, white folks. You see
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
You see. Now here's something else, Keith. We were talking about crime. I listen to these pundits, especially on Fox. They're crying the blues about the rise of crime in America. The rise of crime in America. And they equate it with the fact that they defund the police. Look at that sign, abolish the police. Defund the police, okay? And so these people, these white kids here who don't live in the Black community. Oh, there's another Black girl right there with the red bow on her head with the face mask on. She kind of light-skinned chick right there to the right side of your screen. That's one. And they say, I lost my train of thought. Um,
He's getting
crime,
distracted by,
crime, 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 crime,
yeah.
crime, crime. And because they defunded the police, crime has risen. Do you know why they defunded the police? Who was at the root of that? I'll tell you who was at the root of it. Us Black folks. What I mean by that? The first major riot in this country with Black people was out here in California in Watts. The police pulled a young Black man over. They didn't kill him, but they roughed his ass up, and everybody went off, and we had that big old riot. Then some other stuff jumped off later. We had the Newark riot. And then we had the riot with the Martin Luther King assassinations with the police. And then we had the Rodney King riot out here, the so-called Rodney King riot, or whatever you want to call it, 1992. And then we had the Black Lives Matter, all that stuff going down. And so out of that, these ignorant white kids who don't live in the Black communities are hollering out there, defund the police. It's not going to affect their neighborhood because they ain't got them thugs that got killed out there by the police roaming their neighborhood, terrorizing their neighborhood. Black folks did not go out there to the Black Lives Matter, defund the police movement. 95% of Black folks stayed home and just watched it on television. Why? Because we knew that these white kids have been duped to believe that street thugs who terrorize our neighborhoods where our kids can't play in the streets. Our elderly can't sit on the porch anymore and rock in the evening in the warmth of the evening. Our kids can't play in the yard because of thugs selling crack and everything else and gunning and killing people. And they can't shoot straight. And when they shoot at each other, they hit innocent children. Our people are locked down in terror and fear because of thugs. And these kids, these white kids out there talking about Black Lives Matter, defund the police. And so now, ladies and gentlemen, Because the American people, particularly the Republicans, never resolved the matter of chattel slavery and its generational devastations, which created the system of racism by which we are affected to this day. Now they're crying the blues because the police can't come and save them. Today in Seattle, a dude running for governor, a Republican, was trying to have a meeting and Antifa came. It must have been 2,000 Antifa dudes and tore up that Republican Party, and the police couldn't get there in time enough to save them. The police showed up later, but by the time the police got there, the Antifa crowd had split. But I'm lying. I'm lying about the numbers. You know how many Antifa was out there? And there was more Republicans than Antifa. You know what's out there? Six. Six white boys dressed like niggas, dressed in black. Okay. And they beat them white Republicans and chased them away. And I'm thinking, Keith, why don't somebody stand up and say, wait, there's six punk ass white boys. Keith, you could have took care of them by yourself. See, and they're saying, well, the police didn't get there in time because the police have been defunded. Well, why were the police defunded? Because of thugs in America, black thugs, not knowing how to behave themselves, and got the rest of us in trouble now. But now the white folks are feeling the sting too. What do you think, Keith?
Well, I think they ought to train themselves to handle an aggression next time. And whenever it comes against you, when they run up on you, like King David did. When David took on Goliath, that giant, David said, I come to you in the name of the Lord. That's what the difference is. That's what we should do. We ought to be prepared. The horse is prepared against a day of battle, but safety is of the Lord.
Now,
So
where'd you
we
get
need to
that from?
prepare.
Hey, wait a minute, man. Where you getting this stuff from? Where'd you get that quote from? What is that?
That's
What
Proverbs.
book that come out of?
Proverbs
That's the
21,
Bible?
31.
Is that the
Yep.
Bible?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Hey, y'all need to read that Bible, man.
Yeah, I just think it's kind of fantastic, man. I mean, it's like Samson when he took on the Bible says he killed 1,000 men with the jawbone of an ass. But I'm just saying, the whole point is we need to be prepared to handle this insurrection against our Constitution. That's right.
Well, the actual insurrection. You know what insurrection is, ladies and gentlemen? And I implore you to go to my website, the14th.us. That's THE, digital number 1, digital number 4, TH.US. You go there, and you go to videos. There's a series of 23 short clips, and you read those, listen to those videos, and explains the power. And those of you who are not of the chattel slaves, non-black, American African people, you go there too. If you're a white person, you especially need to go there because, see, as I said the other night when I spoke out here in Orange County at a group of folks, everybody there was black except for two people. I mean, it was white except for two people. And I said to them that, you white folks, you got it wrong. If you think that the civil rights legacy belongs to us black folks, you're mistaken. That's been a part of the confusion of our country. You are the legacy of civil rights. Y'all white folks, y'all are the ones who became the abolitionists, the primary abolitionists to destroy chattel slavery in this country because you realized that it was contrary to the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. And you are the ones who organized Republican Party in 1854 and 1856 in Ripon, Wisconsin, a little one-room schoolhouse. And y'all came together as Whigs and Republicans and free soilers, or Whigs and free soilers, even some Democrats. And y'all joined and you made this party to end slavery and ensure that the free slaves have a good citizenship in America. Y'all did that. Y'all fought a war for 740,000 innocent young white boys, North and South, had to die over us. Y'all wrote the 13th, the 14th, the 15th Amendment, the Civil Rights Act of 1866. Y'all wrote the anti-Ku Klux Klan and the anti-disenfranchisement of blacks laws. Y'all wrote the Emancipation Proclamation, which is yet to be fulfilled. This is y'all's legacy, I told him, and y'all need to own up to that legacy and stop running around here being gaslighted because you feel insecure about being white. And you are allowing those boys who died in a very heroic way, in a very noble way, for us black folks. And you owe it to those white boys who died out there in Gettysburg and Antietam and all those Civil War battles over this issue. And you need to stand up, white folks. You need to stand up to the foreigners and everybody else, the socialists who come in here and call you racist and call you anti-black because you died for us. And you need to stand up and be encouraged and be powerful and wield the sword of the Constitution with impunity. And because you haven't done that, the enemy has come in like a flood, taking over your school systems. No, we black folks didn't build America. You gotta hear all that mythology. Black people built America. No, we did not. White people built this country on our backs, yeah. With our help, yeah. But this is your country. We didn't ask to come here. Y'all brought us here against our will. See all them white boys, man. Them cats died. They shoot each other within 15 yards of one another. And they all spoke English. They all believed in Jesus. They believed in the Bible. See, and y'all need to own up to that. And we black folks, we are the subject beneficiaries of the legacy. We are the subject beneficiaries of the civil rights law that gave us a super citizenship, whereby we can actually, as a united body politic, put the president of the United States in jail via the military, according to the Declaration of Independence and 1-2 sections of the Civil Rights Acts of 1862. Y'all did that. So read it. And we black folks, we need to honor these white people, man. We couldn't have gotten this in Africa. We're here. And they created this for us. And we need to own up to that. And the day we own up to that is the day that we stop the Democrats and the socialists from pimping us against the nation who gave us the freedom that we have, more freedom than the Africans who threw our black asses out. Exile. See, anyway, man, I'm sorry I get to digressing because that's why I like Urban Smart Network, man. When I met the producer and the creator of Urban Smart Network, that brother got me. Brother Smoke, he said, I get this brother, man. Let me work with him. And Keith, ladies and gentlemen, Bob Smoke is the first black man in all the 37 years I've been out here as an activist. He's the only man that's paid me real attention and brought me onto his platform to give me a platform like this. No blacks have done that but Bob Smoke. And I'm going to tell you something else, man. All the other documentaries and movies and things I've been featured in, all white people. Ain't that something? Black Lives Matter. So when I go try to talk to the white man about the plight of the black man, he looks at me and said, "Well, okay, Ted, you cool, but where's all your African American leaders backing you up on all this? If they ain't behind you, we're not gonna mess with you because they'll call us racist for interfering in black leadership." Talk to me, Keith. Talk to me. What's going
Oh
on, brother?
man.
What you thinking?
Well, you are absolutely right, sir. You couldn't have said it. I couldn't have said it better. I like
Yeah, you
listening to the
could
way
have.
you explain. I like the way you explain it, though. I really
Makes
do.
sense,
That's really
right?
awesome. Yeah, it really does. You put it all together. And it's just amazing.
That's why
Uh,
I said to y'all earlier that we chattel slave descendants, we are down there under the dirt in the soil. We are in the root of America. The fruit that you eat is us, America. We're
there
the
is
juice.
there is one question though, Ted. Maybe you can answer to me.
What's
Or
that,
there.
sir?
Here's a good question. Why is it, since all of this is true, and we see what's going on in the country, and at the same time we see that most of the people in charge of what's going on are are of the liberal progressive Marxist mindset, that same mindset that blacks are embracing and to their own demise? Why then do they keep voting the same way?
Because our people wounded. We wounded. We ain't never recovered. We ain't never recovered. Remember, we were not allowed to read. It was against the law to read. They kill us if they caught us reading. That's what Jim Crow was about. Jim Crow was to subjugate the freed slaves out of 245 years of chattel slavery. We had issues, right? We had a lot of psychological issues, and they took advantage of us there and beat us down. That's why. And we don't know no better. We certainly don't know no better. And the socialists, I got the document if y'all want it. And the communists said back in 1930, because he is weak, he's illiterate, and because he is emotionally therefore responsive, and you don't have to really produce, just talk about him. He said, "We will use the Negro. We will destroy America through the Negro." Now you think about that. You think about that now. What I've been telling you here tonight. You think about all the riots behind police brutality. Now people holler defund the police. Think about it now. That's us. You think about it now. World War III. Why? Because black folks put that man in power. Why did that happen? Think about it now. Abortion. Think about it now. These people want to keep abortion going. That means they want to disenfranchise black folks' vote. See, see.
Mhm.
But you know what, Keith? I have hope. God's going to bless us. He's blessing us now, and we're going to pull through this thing, and we're going to be the people that America has always wanted. We are America's great white hope. They hope that we live up to what they wrote. Well, hey, okay, we about ready to get up out of here. You've been listening to Ted and Ken on Your Power Weapon on UrbanSmartNetwork.com. And we'll be back here again next Monday. Now, tell your friends, y'all new people, come on, man. This thing's going to get hot because I didn't have time to talk to you tonight about what's going on with the homeless, but you're going to probably hear it in the news before I talk to you again. All right, Keith, one last word. What you got, man?
Well, sir, I think it's you're absolutely right. I'm in there agreement with you, and I'm going to continue to offer training. I'm going to train these people how to resist the
Hey,
aggression.
hey,
Yeah.
there you go. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Bob Smoke. Thank you,
All
Urban
right.
Smart Network. Thank you. This is Ted from Your Power, quote unquote, Weapons. Thank you. See you next time.